Yo, what is going on, my fellow weebs? Chrono here, and welcome back to the channel. So today's video was supposed to be a Genshin video, but after editing and working through that video, I want to give it a bit more time. I actually want to cover things a bit more in depth in that video specifically because it's going to be something that's kind of important to me. And I figured today I'll kind of mix this in because I planned on making this video a couple of days ago, but I just hadn't had a good spot to fit this video in the mix. So I'm making this video mostly for those of you guys who follow my channel that just follow it for me primarily, not just for PSO2 or any other game I play in the mix, just specifically for me overall. So for any of you guys that do follow the channel for PSO2, I appreciate you guys. You guys are what helped push this channel up to what it currently is. And though it is currently stagnating, we are in a place where I am very happy, and I do want to actually put more time into my YouTube channel, which is why I have been making videos basically almost every day. It's less of like what I feel like is going to do well on YouTube and more of like what I just want to do. So I thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. It's been awesome, and I'm enjoying what I'm doing now a lot more than I have in the past. And you'll find that from the fact that I'm a lot more active in not only my comment section, but my Discords and other locations. So I appreciate you guys very, very much. Thank you. As far as the point of this video itself, it's to kind of give you guys a bit of an idea of how we'll be moving forward with content. This is one of those slow months in PSO2, and though I have my opinions on why I feel like these months are important, why I also dislike these months, it is important to recognize that I am in a position where I do want the game to do well. So the content that I make, I'm very selective and careful about in a way that I feel like it's always going to be beneficial for the game overall. However, in doing so, I have been a bit negligent on covering all aspects of the game that I think are going to help the game out overall. And what I mean is that in a lot of cases, we don't, on this channel at the very least, cover things that I'm just not a big fan of. I don't like to harp or stay on topics that I don't enjoy. And if something isn't really something that I enjoy or I have fun with, I really kind of just skip over it in most cases. You'll see like me mention something about it or we'll talk about it on stream, but usually it's not something that I specifically make videos about or that I talk about. And that's just been something that I personally have done. That's something that it's not like, that I want to ignore those sort of things existing. We talk about them on stream all the time. But it is something that I don't like to settle on or stay on too long because overall it does affect my, I don't want to say like just my mental health or my mental well-being, but it does weigh on you over time, and it's difficult to work through sometimes. So it's just not something that I personally have done. However, I do also agree that completely ignoring these sort of things does have its own levels of negativity involved in it. So to ensure that there isn't anything left up in the air about how I feel about something, or any misconceptions on like my thoughts or the way that I feel about the game overall, I wanted to kind of talk with you guys about what we'll be doing when it comes down to covering content in the future. We are going to cover what we usually do with PSO2, our usual update videos, talking about our thoughts, because that's what this channel has basically been built on, is me explaining my thoughts on the game itself, on new content that's coming to the game, so on and so forth, or even explaining to you guys how certain systems work, or things like that, tips, tricks, all kinds of good stuff. That's really what the channel has been based on. So we still are going to do things like that, but I'm going to start to mix in a bit more of critiques and criticisms that I think are well deserved to make the game better overall. Let's put that. Let's make the game better. It'd be interesting to think that no one from Sega ever watches any of our videos, but I found that they do. We found evidence that they actually do watch my videos, so I do want to take my platform to help provide those criticisms in ways I think are going to be beneficial for the game itself. With that being said, I am not going to be one of those people that wants to make a trilogy video about why NGS is an awful game and a disaster. I'm not here to make a video telling you guys about why the game is dead and you should move on. I personally think that if you think a game is that bad, I don't know why you would cover it for over a year and still continue to cover it up to this day about how it's so terrible. And I think it's a very unhealthy relationship to have with the game. I've had that unhealthy relationship beforehand, and let me tell you, when I walked away from that relationship, things felt pretty good overall. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys how anyone should run their individual channels. It's their platform; they can do as they like. But I will say that, everyone's actions have consequences. Not all the consequences are going to be in line with how they should with the actions themselves. Sometimes they're going to be ridiculous and unnecessary and unfair. But to pretend like, an action should have zero consequence no matter what the case is, I think, foolhardy overall. I've always said that the rules do not apply to everyone equally, and the sooner that we learn those in our lives, the easier it becomes to to deal with things on a day-to-day basis. Should they apply equally? Absolutely. Do they? In most cases, absolutely not. It's a bit silly to think that they do, and yeah, it's just not something that I want to deal with. And I've seen takes like recently. I've seen takes like the game is dying, and will have an end of service announcement by January. I don't, guys, no, I don't. Unless something goes horrifically wrong in the next like few months, I don't foresee that in the case being the case in the slightest. Games that devs have just given up on are games that go end of service. While the dev team is still attempting and still trying, games aren't going to die out. And to look at something like just a Steam player base is not really indicative of games like PSO2, unfortunately, where you have games that exist not only in the Western audience, but also over in Japan, and that exist on other platforms overall. Yeah, looking at Steam, we got like what 2,500 people as like active player base, but that's not counting anyone playing on console. That's not counting anyone playing over on JP. That's not counting anyone playing on the Epic Game Store. I know it seems silly, but people do. And that also doesn't count anyone that's playing as a part of the Microsoft version of the game itself. So there are other players playing the game. Is it a huge player base? No, not in the slightest. But when things are going well, it does pop off, and when there are updates that people are really enjoying, there are a lot of people playing, and that's one thing I've noticed is that there's enough people playing for the game to do decently well. So is it going to be the next World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy 14? Absolutely not. No, it's not. But not to say that those games aren't having their own problems as it stands right now. You've got the beef with Bellier and Panda about Final Fantasy, or about not PS2. I'm sorry, about World of Warcraft. You've got things going on with Zeppelin and Final Fantasy 14 about the most recent expansion not being super great, and being a lot of people not playing the game. So this just exists in MMOs in general. I don't foresee there being any issues in the future with PSO2 going anywhere. However, I am still going to be critical of the game itself, and we're still going to talk about those things moving forward, more on the YouTube channel as well as on the Twitch stream. So, apologies if you guys enjoyed the videos not being super like, downers or anything like that. I will try to make those separate videos, not just like mixed into everything else. So if that's not something that you particularly want to be a part of, then by all means you can skip over those videos. I totally understand. It's hard enough to keep a positive outlook in today's society as it is. You don't really need someone dumping on everything that you enjoy about something. There's people that love the way that, let's say, for example, Bouncer currently plays. I despise it. I wish it was different, but that's just me personally. It's a different take. So I say I despise it's not true. It's the block with soaring blades. I really dislike that thing. But I digress. That's a topic for a different video. My point is that I am going to be mixing those videos in moving forward. And it is something that I think is possible to do with maintaining a positive outlook on the game itself. I know some people think that criticism and negativity are synonymous with one another, but they're not. You don't have to be a jerk, or you don't have to be overly negative to criticize something. People love to use the mindset that, or use the excuse that I criticize what I love, and that's why I say these things when I say them. Um, no, that's not the case. That's not always just criticism. There's always the idea that, constructive criticism is a good thing. Well, not all criticism is constructive. So again, these are excuses that are made consistently, and I can say wholeheartedly that I do fully believe there are ways to criticize things without being a complete douchebag about it. But if that's the way that you feel like you want to get your point across, that's totally fine. Just I don't want to make excuses for that sort of behavior, that sort of thing itself. And I'm definitely one that'll call it what it is when those situations themselves come up. Maybe some other people will look at that as I'm being too soft in the matter itself, but if anyone has actually listened to me criticize something, they would understand that soft is not the issue itself at all. It's not something that we are in the slightest about certain things. We are pretty straightforward when it comes to our criticism of things that we dislike, at the very least, when it comes to my Discord as well as my Twitch stream. So that's something that will come over to the YouTube space, and that's something I wanted to give you guys a heads up about overall, moving forward. And it's just there's a real big issue with like over negativity. I truly do believe that a player base will kill a game before a dev team will. Perfectly honest, it's the players that have the power in that situation itself. And in PSO2's small space, I think we can't afford to have people criticizing things. But I think framing it as in like, we're trying to help the game is just it's just a terrible thing to have to do consistently. I think it's not really helping anyone. I think it only serves the individual making the video itself overall. And for those of you guys who are seeing a lot of these videos pop up, I mean, I wouldn't really blame that individual consistently or anyone that is making videos like that. It's the YouTube game that you play. You'll find that anything that is divisive, anything that is going to garner reactions or interactions is going to cause you to see those videos more often, especially in the small space that is PSO2. Whenever, and this for people who aren't aware of this process, I'm sure plenty are, but whenever you thumbs up a video or thumbs down it, it counts as interaction actually the same. It doesn't mean that that video won't be seen as much. It just means that you dislike that video and people will be able to see it. I know that the dislikes are hidden, but they're extensions for that sort of thing. People can see them. So it's not like it's going to be something that's hidden to anyone, that anyone really wants to see it. They'll be able to figure it out. But thumbs up and thumbs down, these count as interactions. Comments count as interactions. These videos will pop up more often. That's why you'll tend to see a lot of people make divisive videos. And if you look at like their overall channels and look at the videos themselves, and you start to see certain videos do really well and other ones not do well. I mean, even on my channel in some cases, you'll find it's the videos that tend to garner a lot of responses from other individuals, because then it gets to more people and then it gets more views and then it gets more interactions. So it's just playing the YouTube game. I don't really blame anyone for playing that game itself. It's just not something that I want to build my channel on personally. So that's just how we're going to do things moving forward. That's really about it, guys. I don't know if there's anything else I really wanted to talk about. Hopefully you guys are enjoying yourselves. You're playing what you want to play, and if it's not something you want to play, you're moving on to something else. There's plenty out there to enjoy, and yeah, I'll be enjoying all of it myself. We'll be putting up things for Genshin, for Honkai Star Rail, for heck, we put up a video for Armored Core not too long ago that didn't do super well, but got to the people that I know wanted to see those videos. We're planning on doing videos probably for Cyberpunk 2077. I almost said Space Skyrim, but Starfield and other games moving forward. Endless Zone Zero, Blue Protocol, whenever that hits, however that's going to work out, we'll have to see. Because I'm sure you guys have already heard about things that are going on in the JP version of that game, but I've seen things go from awful to amazing, and then things go from amazing to awful, and things stay awful. So we'll see when it gets here. Anyway, if you guys have anything you want to talk about, feel free to toss it in the comments. I will always warn that, I won't stand for people being disrespectful to one another. We can disagree and be respectful. It's definitely something that's possible. So if you feel like that's the case and that's what's happening, and you feel like you need to respond a very specific sort of way, feel free to talk with someone about that in DMs. We won't stand for it in the comments or in the Discord or anywhere else. So, and my DMs stay open, man. So if you guys ever want to talk with me about a topic that you're ever concerned about or curious about, or ever have any questions that you feel like aren't getting answered anywhere else, feel free to DM me. The Discord link is in the video description. And if you jump into the Discord, I'm in the top right-hand side. You'll always see me there. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching all the way in. I really appreciate it. Hopefully, we have a good time with the future of what the channel is. And I'll see you all there. Take care, everyone. Peace out.